Hello, welcome back to Kitchen Sink Pack. Last episode we invented oil, and we are now ready to begin taking the oil and doing stuff and things with it. Main thing we're going to do with the oil is fraction it into fractioning towers, and these fractioning towers are not very expensive. These are actually the old recipe, and I'm very familiar with this recipe, which is actually relatively expensive. It costs 18 steel to make each one. So we gotta keep that in mind that it does cost a little bit of steel. But you only need like one of these for each thing that you do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, we need to focus on getting diesel. So we need to actually focus on recipes that get us to diesel. So as you can see, a kerosene solid fuel gets you to that. So how do you make solid fuel then? So if you put solid fuel through the process, it will get you to diesel. And to make solid fuel, you need a chemical plant, which can take crude oil to make it into solid fuel. Heating oil, make it into solid fuel. Reclaimed industrial, yes, you get what I mean. It takes, basically this is a replacement for the machine that doesn't exist in this version. You can take natural gas, make solid fuel out of it. But kerosene is one of those things you can also make solid fuel out of, regardless of the fact that it's made for use for rockets. It's also used in making dash tools and dash stuff. So we're probably going to not even bother with dash for now. We're just going to focus on making everything into diesel. So everything that I can't make into diesel regularly, I'm going to just turn into solid fuel and then make it into diesel, maybe. Or actually, I'll store it for now because I don't have the time to make it into diesel. But anyway, we're going to need a lot of diesel for going into space. That's all I'm saying, right? We need loads of diesel to get into space. Anyway, the first of these are going to cost those going through there, and then we're going to need to make these into this, which will give us our steel. And then we need to make steel shells, which we need 4 of. 4 steel shells will make us the first 2 fractioning towers setups. And then we will need to make a bunch of chemical plants for actually turning all of the stuff into solid fuel, because it is useless. You see here we have heavy oil, naphtha, light oil, and petroleum gas. And as you can see, petroleum gas is used in the gas flare and stuff like that. Which, I mean, yeah, we could run the gas flare, but I don't care about that. The heavy oil gets you to the ability to make, what's it called? Let me see. Okay, I see what recipes these are. Heavy oil. Let's see about that. It can be fractioned out into bitumen and industrial oil, which the bitumen is meant for cracking back into crude oil, cool, and aromatic hydrocarbons, which are able to be solidified, I believe, or made into polymer. So we'll need a cracking tower for that eventually, but not right now. I'm not going to bother with that. We'll save our petroleum gas, and we'll be able to make that at some point. So I don't think I'm even going to bother with anything that isn't naphtha for now. But I will set up this stuff for it regardless. And let me get some trunk porters so I can actually see how close we are to the edge. We're right on the edge. So it looks like I'll probably have... We don't want to split these over the edge. So we want to have them like, you know, in the same chunk. This guy's out of oil. I'll just shove in a little bit more oil. Here. Enjoy your oil. This thing does not even make a sound, so it's ridiculous. We have our first fractioning towers, and these are ready for fractioning out the 2 different things I'm going to fraction for now. The kerosene will make a lot of solid fuel when we get to making kerosene, but not right now. We're not going to bother with anything like that. We're just going to set up the most basic refinery we can possibly set up, because I'm trying to go cheap here, not go expensive and waste all my time trying to build a oil setup. So I will just have 1 here, 1 here. And then we'll fraction all of our stuff. We'll have this one be diesel. Next one be something else. So mechanical ducts are probably the most expensive thing we're going to use for this. But it is our best option for actually getting... They cost like 5 iron in this. Like, what? Well, technically they cost 5 iron. But no, really, they just cost 4 iron. Because you can make an iron into 2 steel up in this kitchen sink pack. Did I even say welcome back to kitchen sink pack at the start of this episode? Anyway. This will be for... Oh, wait a second. This will just extract everything from this thing. It doesn't care what it is extracting. It's... When you place this down, this is going to extract whatever it wants. Configure 8 heat. Okay. So let's say I have this thing set up as is. So he will extract every single thing and send it on one pipeline. which is interesting and very, very interesting, because I never use mechanism for this kind of thing, do I? Anyway, this could lead to some issues, but this makes it a very interesting setup because I don't have to use as many pipes. I can just use one pipe and it will transport everything it needs to where it needs to be. It's a little ridiculous. Also, I'm sorry for having the chunk borders on. I'm going to turn those off now. Because I'm going to next thing I'm going to set up is going to be storage for petroleum gas, I think, and storage for the other stuff. I'm going to need the actual fluid template thing and the other thing. And we'll be able to make all of the diesel here. Actually crazy that this is able to. I will not use mechanism pipes for the cracking towers, I know that much. Because the cracking towers are actually going to require us to do a bunch of stupid stuff with them. I do not need this fluid ID because I can now scrap them, but this actually will allow me to make another thing. Fluid. Diesel. I need naphtha. I need the naphtha ID. There's also napalm. I believe there's supposed to be cracked naphtha and cracked light oil, but those don't even exist in this version. So here's our cracked, or here's our naphtha. Not cracked naphtha. That would be stupid. Anyway, this is going to go down this pipeline here. I wonder if we can use Buildcraft naphtha for this. That's a good question. Light oil needs to be stored somewhere, so I need to actually make a barrel for that. Or a silo or something. I'm honestly having fun with this oil setup. Like, too much fun with the oil setup. Like, I'm supposed to be going to space soon. Having too much fun with oil setup right now. Simple machines. Like, what do we have here? We have the actual, those are not simple machines. I'm looking for the fluid storage. Do you have a, silo? Is that what it's called? Yes, it is. It's called silo. Full to the brim. Silos offer a lot of space for items of the exact same type, making them excellent for storage. Oh. Well, okay. What about, do you have a tank? Do you have tank? Tank? Ah. Tank, full to the brim. The tank is multi-block that provides space for large amounts of fluid. It will store up to 512 buckets of any fluid which can be piped through the top or the bottom block. Fluids can only be extracted from the bottom center block. What is it made with? What do you cost? 34 iron sheet metal. And 4 treated wood fences. Way cheaper than steel, maybe? I don't know. Here we'll have to figure that out on our own. I have no clue how much expensive this is. We have our steel. Boom. How much sheet metal did it need? It needs, well, each of these would make, this would make 64 sheet metal. This will make 32 sheet metal. I will make 32 sheet metal because I can. And I'll store the rest of the steel, or iron, in this bin here. And the rest of steel in there as well. I do not need steel right now. I do need this thing for making stuff, and I need this also in here. I guess I'm gonna put all that in there, and all this in here. You know what? This is just my general area for storing stuff now, instead of just for immersive engineering stuff, I guess. What the heck? Anyway, we're getting very close to being able to use diesel fuel. Very impressive. And I'm going to set up the actual silos for storing our fluids that we don't really know what to do with right now, or that we're not going to do much with right now, because we want to save those. So I'll set up one right. That's on the border of the chunk, isn't it? Oh, wait, actually, yeah, it is on the chunk border, but it's like not on the chunk border. It doesn't cross over. Because this, if we place down a fractioning tower here, it will cross over into this chunk. So this won't cross over because it's on this right here. So it's like right on the edge. There's also a fluid router. So if we want to control which direction fluids are going in, I think we can make a fluid router for that. And I don't remember what it's, if it is actually a fluid router or if it's what the heck it is. I think it is a fluid router, and then I can make it right now. So I hope I can make it right now, and I hope that's the case, because I really need that. And there is a fluid router. It is called this thing. It's made very simply with an iron mechanical component as well. I guess I'll make the iron mechanical component with the extra plates I made. So we'll get started on making this. This will be like this, and that will make the mechanical component. Very cheap item in it. Ah, where's my copper? I think I have the copper down here as well. Do I not have the copper down here? Actually, do you have any more stuff? Yes, you do. You have seared bricks in you. What are you doing? Like casting out seared bricks is what you're doing. Very stupid machine. Get back to casting out the seared bricks. So fluid router needs... Oh, and it needs treated wood on the outside. Okay, I can do that as well. This is actually the easiest thing we've ever made. Like, by far. easiest machine thing we've ever made. 1, 2. The fluid router will allow us to switch or sort the actual petroleum gas and other thing away from each other, so that way I don't end up with having naphtha in the tanks or something like that. Also, I need to have one of these and a piece of redstone for the top. This is actually amazing. This is the most kitchen sink refinery we've ever set up. We have that set up. And you know what would be even more ridiculous? Is if I started using the actual Buildcraft naphtha for making... I think it would work this way. I could probably set up Buildcraft naphtha and have the ability to make our stuff. Which would be pretty ridiculous. Now, the problem is that everything has to pass through this pipeline, and then it has to be shipped off to where it needs to go. So, I need to have this pipe here, this fluid router. I need this thing set up with the correct fluids. Alright, so you can actually take the light oil from here, and you could put it in the slots you want it to go through. What is this? NBT data. You will need to filter with filters items with NBT data. I don't know. To just filter the light oil as is. So the light oil can go through, and the actual... whatchamacallit? Wait, that's 1,000 millibuckets of... Why is it 1,000 millibuckets specifically? Why does it have to be specifically 1,000 millibuckets? But... yeah, that will come out this blue side. As you can see, we've created a filter already for our light oil. So any light oil that gets produced will now be filtered out and sent up into this setup here. Pretty nice. Alright, so I finished the actual first tank for storage of stuff, and it needs to enter through the top. Let's go ahead and... Can I make this? Oh, look at this thing. It's actually beautiful. It can store 512... fluid capacity, whatever the heck you want to call it. Now the problem is I need more pipes, and this naphtha it's going to take a long time to get all the naphtha out of there because of the heating oil. This is the problem with using mechanism pipes for such a thing, but I guess it is kind of useful because I do not have to make like multiple different pipelines for everything. I need to just have one pipeline and it works out. I mean, I still have to build a pipeline because there's a problem. That's still a problem. I still have to build a pipeline. That's the problem, is I have to build an actual, legitimate, good pipeline. Like, how the heck am I supposed to build such a good pipeline? This is the problem. It's a problem you don't even realize until you go do it. But I don't have to use any fluid IDs. That's really amazing. Okay, so now we have petroleum gas going through the pipeline as well. The petroleum gas will come out. So we've got all the light oil in storage, probably. And I have no clue how much that thing is holding right now. Which means I need to actually make another one of these things. Which is, I mean, that's gonna be fun as well.